What is up, everyone? Welcome to the Cam's Eye View, and today I'm going to be with Jordan Anderson, racing owner. Jordan Anderson, I just have to ask, you're a tuning owner and a race car driver. Just where did this passion for racing come from?
Yeah, it's probably about like yourself. When I was a kid, I was like, I want to be a race car driver. Some people want to be baseball players, football players. I'm like, NASCAR is where I want to be. Watched it on TV and had the Hot Wheels growing up. Had NASCAR Thunder on the PS2. I had all that stuff growing up and just want to be a driver. So worked hard. I came up to go-karts and Bandoleros, legend cars. I always worked on my own stuff. Went late model race and did all that. And actually made my debut in the truck series here back in 2014. And that was the start of the truck series career I had. And then 2018, I said, you know what? I'd hop from team to team to team all those different years. I said, I'm going to start my own team up and control my own destiny a little bit better. And that was 2018. And 2021, we went Xfinity races, started putting some other drivers in there. And fast forward a few years later, now we've got Blaine full-time, we've got Jeff full-time. I still get to run a little bit alongside Austin Green in the 32. So a lot of good stuff going on. Just incredibly thankful. And I love NASCAR, I love our sport. And I never envisioned team owner being something that happened, but it's been cool to watch the journey happen and see where we are today.
Yeah, and so speaking of the Hot Wheels part and watching NASCAR on TV, I think we might be the same person at that point. Yeah, because my family, mainly they played sports, but for me, I always played with Hot Wheels and TV, so I get that part.
My dad played baseball growing up, and I played baseball too when I was probably 8 or 9 years old. He's like, you can't do both. You got to pick one.
They tried to make me do sports.
I was like, sorry, Dad, I want to be in racing. I don't want to break your heart, but racing's where I want to be.
Yeah, and so speaking of just making that jump from going from team owner, what's been the biggest learning curve and just the part that you had to the biggest part that you had to learn just being a team owner, especially when you were driving and owning a team?
Yeah, it's kind of funny when you're a race car driver. Your instincts have to almost be on the selfish end of things, where you got to make sure you take care of yourself. You're fighting for sponsorships. You're fighting to make sure your car's good, and you almost kind of have to have that self-centered mentality of make sure you take care of yourself and your car and your situation. And team ownership side is the exact opposite. You got to make sure that you're taking care of your guys, the team, making sure everybody has the parts and tools they need. Your drivers are getting the best equipment. So it's kind of giving opportunities to those guys. We've brought in a lot of young guys. I've got a few guys that have worked for us for the past few years that are working at Hendrick now or Gibbs and bigger teams, but it's cool to see our team growing. You look at where Haller Parking is today, we have Gibbs on one side and Junior Motorsports on the other. So we're up here high in points. We're up against some of those big teams, but it's definitely been challenging to learn the management side, the people side, because this sport is it's truly centered on your people. How good is your team? It's I kind of use the example a lot of times is we go to play tug of war with these other drivers every week. We need to make sure everybody's on our team's on the right side. We're fighting against all those other teams every week. We don't need to be playing tug of war against ourselves. So it's a matter of getting the teams working together, the 27, the 31, the 32 when it runs, making sure that, we're building the cars the same, we're doing the best we can, we're bringing the smartest people in our building, and basically bringing the best product we can every week for our drivers. And it's been cool to see it here recently. It's starting to really pay off for us.
All right, and then me and my dad have been debating about this question a lot. We started debating on this question when we were in the gym working out. But so we have 4 drivers. It's Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon, Tony Stewart, and Kurt Busch. And you have to put 2 of them on the front row, and you have to put the other 2 on pit road, which means basically not parking them in such a way. So which 2 of them are going on the front row, and which 2 of them are going on pit road?
And am I playing team owner for the best finish? Man, if I had to pick, I grew up, I was a diehard Jeff Gordon fan, so I got to put JGP1, and he was a Chevy guy, so I got to put him up there. So we had Jeff, you said Tony, Jimmy, and Kurt.
Yeah.
If it was a green-white checker, honestly, I might take, that's a tough one. Depends on what Tony Stewart is. If it's Tony Stewart in his prime, I'd say I'd pick Jeff and Tony, and I'd park Jimmy and Kurt. That'd be me. If it was them in their prime, I would pick those guys. Yeah. Now, I'll take it back. If it was Homestead in the mid-2000 teens, I'd put Jimmy up there on the front row because he's going to win. So it depends on what track we're at.
Yeah.
Jimmy was one of those guys.
There's a lot of variables in that question as well.
Very true. It's so funny. That's in racing, and the more you run, you'll kind of learn this and find this out. But every driver has their quirks of what tracks fit well for their driving style. Some guys excel at short tracks. Some guys are good at intermediate. Some are speedways and road courses, and it's definitely figuring out where your strengths are and hopping on that. So that's the same thing for us. We know that during the year we've got speedway race is a race we know we can go run really good at, and we put a lot of effort in our speedway stuff. So, you know, that variable is a big one for sure, because I tell people all the time, racing is kind of the one sport where sometimes 2 + 2 does not always equal 4. There's a lot of variables that are in our sport, and the more you can control and really pick and choose which ones play to your favor, the better off you'll be.